Good time of day, guys. My name is Godzi, and welcome back to another episode of Higurashi When They Cry, Ch.6 Tsumihoroboshi. Been a few days since the last episode, I realized. Had a week, you know, a bit of a week. So yeah, last episode was insane, but it was very, very good. I don't really know how to describe it in words, but it was very, very good. I liked that scene a lot. And I was told in the comments that the anime basically completely bastardized it, and it was not very good. I haven't pulled up the comment because I'm very great at things, you know? But yeah, basically what happened in the anime with that scene was it was meant to be more scary, apparently, in the anime. Like, they tried to make it seem like Rena might lash out and kill them too, like, oh wowie, or something like that. So yeah, that's kind of stupid, but yeah. And I was told that there's a really good novel cover. Is that what it said? Is that what the comment said? Yeah, a novel cover of that scene. And I looked it up, and yes, it is very good. If I cared enough to edit my videos, I'd probably put the image here. So yeah, but it is really good. And after I saw that, I wished I had chosen that as my thumbnail. But yeah, it's a very good cover. I haven't recorded this series in a few days. I'm not really in my routine, but whatever. Only way I can be is if I actually record, so let's do that. Let's read. Welcome! Would you like a hot dog? Yes, actually, that sounds good. All shaved ice is the best you've ever tasted. You can have it with strawberry syrup, melon syrup, or Hawaiian blue syrup. Try our takoyaki roulette. The winner's packed with a ton of mustard. There are a great many booths at this year's Watanagashi Festival. Anything can become a festival if there are vendors selling food and music for bond dances, I thought. It's still June, but it had been extremely hot the past few days, almost as if it's already summer. When you have a June festival with bond dance music under this kind of weather, the only thing that's missing to make it a perfect summer festival is fireworks. Oh, hello. I can never remember what voice I gave you, but maybe that's part of your charm, Kumagai. Bzz, bzz. This is Kumagai. Oishi-san, can you hear me? Over. I heard a voice coming from my portable radio. Wait. We're in Oishi's perspective? Okay. With this earphone, it looks a little like I'm secretly listening to the horse races while on duty. This is Oishi. I can hear you loud and clear. The town councilors gave us a lot of food. We have oden, yakisoba, pork belly stew, and some barley tea. Do you mean the barley tea we can drink on duty, or the one we can't drink on duty? Well... If it's a canned drink, I'll take it. If it's in a cup, don't worry about it. Roger that. And all of the members of the town council are here to say hi. We have the mayor and the head of the Sonozaki family, too. What, that old bag Oreo is there? Can you tell her that I'm patrolling right now and don't know when I'll be back? Well, I don't think I can do that for you, sir. She knows you have a portable radio, so she told me to call you and to bring you back here. She looks really mad. I'm sure it'll be a stroke that kills her. Roger that. Tell her with that extreme courtesy that I'll be back soon. Please. Oh well, I guess I'll have to go back and mingle with the locals. All of a sudden, a group of kids came running towards me from behind. After a quick look at them, I noticed that they were the granddaughter of the old bag and her friends. They occupied a corner of the shooting gallery stall, making a lot of noise. Mion Sonozaki. When acting her age, she's a cute, normal girl. But do I ever hate it when she acts like a member of the Sonozaki family. She'll be the boss of the Okinomiya Yakuza territory in 10 or 20 years, just you wait and see. And while I was thinking things like that, I noticed that Mion wasn't the one taking leadership of her group this time. It was the boy. That boy, I know him. He just moved here recently. The boy from the Mayabara mansion. Keiichi Mayabara-kun, was it? I heard that the Mayabara family is from the city, and they're supposedly very rich, too. But he doesn't flaunt his family's wealth, and he has a good reputation because of that. Even though he just moved here, he's already adjusted to his new school, and he's popular with his classmates, too. Everyone in the village seems to like him as well. He's very interesting to watch as a person of many moods. Boys of his age sure have a lot of energy. Ah, to be young again. Hey, you're up next, Rena! You're lucky it's your turn. Rena, are you okay? Are you feeling sick?
I'm sorry. I guess I have to pass on taking a shot. Okay, you should take a break for a bit. So, that would make it my turn now. Victory shall be mine!
It looked like only 4 of them were having a good time. The girl called Rena seemed outside of that circle of smiles. Her name is Rena Ryugu. What was her real name? I couldn't remember, but I can check when I get back to the station. Rena is only a nickname. I believe she moved here a year before Mayabara-kun did. Her mother divorced her father, or something like that. She's a strong girl who does all the housework by herself. She's a very modest girl, I'm told, which is rare in this era. Unlike Mayabara-kun, it seems she hadn't really opened up to her friends just yet. They had looked like a group of 5, but there's distance between her and the others. It's a little sad, you know? Mayabara-kun has become a part of the village, but Rena is still by herself. Well, that's just how it looks to me. Bzz, Oishi-san! The chief and the section manager are here. Please come back as soon as possible. Roger that! I can't believe the chief came all the way up here just to say hi to the locals. I guess he's very dedicated to community service, eh? Was this the chief? There's a lot of random names. This is Takasugi. Oishi-san, can you hear me? Do you copy? Over! Yes, I hear you. I'm on my way back right now. I'll be there in a minute. If I don't hurry up, even the chief might end up calling me. I ran back to the headquarters tent. I didn't expect to be in Oishi's perspective right now. Tomitake, you looked a lot buffer for a second there. That was weird. Alright. A little bit of a time skip, it seems. Seems like more or less the same shit that happened in Oni Kikuchi, I guess. Tomitake played with them and he's gonna be dead. Oishi-san, Dr. Irie is here. Oh, we're not in Oishi's perspective anymore. Are we in Irie's then? This is getting weird. Oh, thank you so much for coming. So, what do you think, Dr. Irie? Oishi entered the cordoned off area. In there, people from forensics were taking pictures of the corpse from various angles. No, we're not in Irie's perspective, okay. Irie was squatting down next to the dead body of Jiro Tomitake. When he stood up, he looked pale. I can't believe it. I know, I can't believe it either. As far as I can see, he clawed out his throat with his bare hands. This isn't a normal way to go. Most likely it was the cause of some drug or something. Are you saying he was a drug addict? Who knows? I guess it's going to be my job to find that out. Oishi-san, what's with this 2x4? Maybe he was swinging it around. Then he threw it away and had more fun clawing at his throat, I guess. Why was he swinging a piece of lumber around? He probably did it in self-defense. Did you notice there are several... I can't say several in that voice very well. There are several injuries, external injuries on his body. Yes, I can see some bruises. The easiest explanation I can think of is that he was attacked by someone on his way home to Okinomiya from the festival. He was seized by the culprit, given a shot of some kind of dangerous drug, went crazy and died. I've never heard of any drug that can make people claw out their throats. I'm not a specialist, but many drug addicts injure themselves when they're in a terminal condition. Well, I'm sure the old man in forensics will take care of the investigation. Excuse me, Oishi-san. We found a bicycle believed to belong to Jiro Tomitake about 100 meters away from here. Oh, that's great. Thanks for the find. Any other clues? Not yet. They're investigating it right now. So that means the place where the bicycle was found is most likely the place he was attacked. And then he ran away from the suspect and ended up here. Oishi frowned, crossing his arms in front of his chest. Irie was looking at the miserable corpse of Tomitake, and he kept saying the same thing over and over. It's impossible. It's just impossible. Doctor, it happened, so it was possible, okay? Try to think flexibly. Although I get that you don't really see something like this every day, despite being a doctor. Anyway, thanks for your cooperation. You can go home now. We called you here for emergency medical care, but it looks like it was a waste of a trip. Sorry. Oishi stuck his head out of the blue tent and asks, can anybody give him a ride home? Irie gasped all of a sudden as he turned to Oishi. What about Takano-san? What happened to Takano-san? What? Oh, your nurse? I think she was with him. Is she okay? Do you know her phone number? Of course. Kuma-chan, get her phone number from Dr. Irie and make someone at the station call her house. Understood. Doctor, can I have the number? Yes, here it is. Kumagai got the phone number from Irie, repeated it back, and then dashed away from the blue tarps. Doctor, Takano-san and Tomitake-san were close friends, right? Yes. Have you heard about any troubles between them? No, not even once. They were very close. Well, I hope she's okay. In the worst case, she could be dead, or she could be the culprit. I see. Nurses have access to dangerous drugs. We don't have anything like that in my clinic. Even if we did, we'd be extra careful with them. There's no way Takano-san could smuggle out a drug from my clinic. But it's easier for nurses to do it than for regular people, right? Like I said, I've never heard of a drug like that, and I don't have anything like that in my clinic. Oishi-san, she isn't at home. The standby unit says they're going to go to her house to check. Doctor, can you give me her address? Kuma-chan, can you also check if the police headquarters has found any unidentified female bodies tonight? Maybe we should check the other prefectures too. Tell the section manager if he can call the headquarters in the nearby prefectures and ask if they have any unidentified female bodies. Yes, sir. Are you saying that Takano-san might also be dead? Well, I don't know. I don't know if she's dead or if she's the culprit. Of course, it's possible she's not involved at all. She might just be getting drunk in a bar somewhere. It's unbelievable. Who does things like this? Well, it's unbelievable to me too. This fits in with the rest of the mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa. It's been 5 years now. That would make this the 5th curse of Oyashiro-sama. Damn it! I've got to get whoever's behind it this year for sure. I really want to put an end to these cases before I retire. Oishi hates the curse of Oyashiro-sama. It had been leading him around by the nose for 5 consecutive years. The victim of the first year, the manager of the damn construction site, was his friend. Despite his desire to avenge his friend, the mystery had only deepened, and one case followed another year after year. Oishi would be retiring next March. As a retiree, he'd be able to ask about the progress of the investigation, but he wouldn't be able to take the initiative anymore. In other words, this year was his last chance for revenge. Would he have to put his head in the lion's mouth to capture the culprit? Oishi quietly clenched his fist. I believe that this maze has an exit. Maze is a very convenient word. A maze always has an exit. You don't call it a maze if it doesn't have one. I know I'm on the right path towards the exit of this maze. I used to miss these minor divergences, but now I don't miss anything. I don't make any mistakes. This time I could feel a response that was different than all the other times. I'm sure I can finally get to the exit of this maze. But no matter which path I choose to come to this point, Jiro Tomitake always dies. Okay, I know who was saying that at least, but I don't know if that was the same person whose perspective we were in. Maybe? I don't fucking know. Alright. Oh, I was gonna say good morning, but now it's evening. And now it's night. Okay. And now it's morning again. Okay, so 2 days have passed. School. Escuela. Alright, Keiichi again, then. Rena had been sick ever since that day, and she hadn't been able to join in on club activities as often since.
Yeah, I still feel feverish. You do, huh? That's a pity.
Hey, Rena! Why don't you just try and play with us today? I think you'll feel a lot better if you blow off some steam with us. You got this old man's agreement.
Do you think so? Do you? Sometimes resting too much is bad for you. They're quite correct. All illness comes from the mind, don't you know?
Everybody had suspected for a while that Rena isn't really sick, at least physically. It's just that many things happened to her at once. She caught a mental cold. That's why I thought she would get better once she played with us, just like we used to. Seemed like Rena was aware of that too. She knew that she had to get out of her state of depression soon. She wanted to get better, and she wanted to have fun again every day.
Okay, I'll do it.
Great! That's the spirit! Considering the fact that Rena is still recovering from her illness, let's play a tabletop game today. Let me see. Mion started rummaging through her locker, humming to herself. She took one game after another from the locker and put them aside. That locker definitely didn't obey the laws of physics, yeah, we know. The amount of games she took out from the locker was more than what it could physically hold. Oh, I forgot about this one. Let's try this. Today, we'll be playing this detective game. Oh, clue then, huh? Oh, what's that? Sounds interesting. Well, this is a game where you guess the culprit, the murder weapon, and the scene of the crime. It's a game where you use your brain.
You'll pick it up as you play. All you need to do is note down the information you have. Ha 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 ha! In other words, you need to learn the trick of note-taking. This is a game for intelligent people like myself. The rules don't seem that difficult. In short, it's a game where you sound out the cards each player holds in order to try and reason out the identity of the cards first drawn out of the deck. There are plenty of games in different formats where you try to identify something hidden in the least number of steps. This one just happens to be a competitive one of those. The key to winning this game would be how well you can organize your information. We usually like to play athletic games so that we can run around a lot, but in our club, you have to excel both academically and athletically. Alright, this is gonna be great. Let's play! Rena, do you remember how we still haven't decided the winner of the water gun battle? I'm going to settle it today, once and for all! Oh, are you? Then I'm not going to go easy on you. If Rena is getting serious, I'll have to get serious too. Yes, indeed! Since that water gun battle, I have reevaluated Keiichi-san and Rena-san. I'm going to be merciless today!
This is getting exciting! This old man's been waiting for everyone to get this fired up! Excellent! Let's do this! Are you ready? I did it with a knife in the library!
Okay! My turn. Keiichi-kun did it with poison in the hall. My turn. Mion did it with a pistol in the lounge.
You're holding the pistol, aren't you? You're bluffing!
I think I know the suspect and the murder weapon. I've narrowed the scene of the crime down to 2. You're good, Rika-chan. I've narrowed the suspect down to 2, but it's hard to pin down which it is. I'll give you a tip. There's always a hint in the questions the other players ask you. If you figure it out, you can even solve the whole mystery by the order of the cards the others put down on the table.
I see. Damn it. I underestimated the depth of this game. Oh no. My notes are such a mess, I can't even read my own handwriting. Once you acquire the skill of note-taking, you'll have a 70% chance to win this game. But even a 70% chance won't be enough to defeat me. I kinda knew I didn't stand a chance of winning this game, but I gradually started picking it up. Rena seemed to be getting her energy back as she played along. It was the right decision to force her to play with us today. While we were in the middle of the game, Chie-sensei came into the classroom.
My, you look like you're having fun. Anyway, is Ryugu-san here? Huh? You have a visitor.
Nope. Everybody looked puzzled. Parents sometimes showed up at school for some reason, but Chie-sensei never called them visitors. It's rare to have a visitor at school.
I wonder who it is. Well, I have to go. You can continue without me.
Okay, now this is an Onikakushi parallel, assuming that it's Oishi, right? Rena left the classroom at a run. What should we do? Should we wait for her? Oh, well, we don't know how long it's going to take. Rena told us we could continue, so let's do that. Yeah! So we're going to Rena's perspective now, and it's Oishi, right? Yeah. Around the entrance, the glaring sun and the cool shade made for a clear contrast. Yep, I knew it. An old man who's holding his jacket on his arm was waiting for me. He looked like he was overheating, and his tie was limp. My dear Ryugu-san. Rena Ryugu-san. Ever since Rena called me Rena, I've hated that name more than ever. Because of that, I didn't have a good first impression of this man.
Yes, that's me. May I ask who you are?
My car has air conditioning, so why don't we move this into there? Aren't you hot out here? He ignored my question and started walking towards the car parked in front of the school gate. If he wanted to talk about something normal, he would have used the teacher's office. But he wanted to talk in his car instead. I couldn't help but feel suspicious. Chie-sensei let him see me, though. That meant he wasn't a suspicious individual as far as she was concerned. Who was he? I don't bite, you know. Please, this way. He called out to me while opening the rear door. Is he a policeman? Did the police find out that I killed those two? I felt anxious all of a sudden. Was this what they called a voluntary interview? I didn't want to go into that car, but if I rejected his offer, it'd only make me look suspicious. I prepared myself and got in. It was really cool inside the car. A car AC must cost a fortune. At least my father's car doesn't have one. Please let me know if it's too cold. I like keeping it that way.
So, what's this talk about?
In retaliation, I ignored his question and got to the point like he did. He pulled a small notebook out of his breast pocket and flipped through it. He picked out a photo from it. The photo showed the face of a goofy-looking man. Please, tell me if there's ever anything you know about this person. The man in the picture was expressionless and looked half asleep. Sometimes you can't even recognize your own family members in a photo where they don't have an expression. So there's no way I would recognize a person who wasn't related to me. But anyway, that was a bit of a relief. This had nothing to do with Rena or her partner. There were scribbles on his shirts, and we found the signatures of students at the school, including yours, Ryugu-san.
Eh? Is this Tomitake-san?
I don't feel his usual carefree unreliableness from this picture at all. From this half-awake, emotionless face. How about this woman, then? I knew what he was going to show.
Her name is Mio-san. Mio Takano-san.
When did you see them last?
I think it was right after the Watanagashi Festival.
Didn't you notice anything strange? Anything. Please tell me.
Did something happen to them?
Yeah! I got it! To tell you the truth, I wasn't sure if it was Rena or Mion.
So, you gambled? How risky. It doesn't matter how he won. What matters is that he won.
Oh, Rena. Welcome back. What took you so long? Mio noticed that Rena had returned. She looked exhausted. I have no idea what she talked about with the visitor, but it was obvious it wasn't something fun. Rena, are you okay?
What? What's okay? What?
I'm talking about you. You look pale. Are you sure you're alright? Rena tried to convince us she was fine, but her face clouded over for a moment and she decided to leave early. I think I remember this part, and now I'm scared. I shouldn't have forced her to join the game. I was regretting it a little. Rena probably forced herself to play with us, even though she wasn't feeling well at all. Rena put her stuff in her bag, apologized to us for leaving early, and left the classroom.
Well, she's gone now. I guess we have to keep playing until we have a loser.
That's right. Whose turn is it? Wait, isn't Clue a game where, like, you get it right and then, like, game over, or are they playing again? Like,
Meep.
Okay, Rika-chan, come on! Huh. Okay. I'm more confused about what version of Clue they're playing. Whatever. Whose perspective? Is this Rena? Her text is the same color as Keiichi's name, though. Or is this Tomitake and it's a flashback? That could be it. We've been switching to random perspectives, like, for the last hour, so I guess that makes sense. First of all, I wasn't very close to Mio-san. I knew who she was, so I greeted her whenever we happened to pass by, but that was about it. I never really talked to her except for the one time. And that time was only recently. No, this wouldn't be Tomitake then, at all. It was between the day of the Watanagashi Festival and the day I was caught in the... Oh no, this is Rena. Why is your text brown now? Whatever. The day I was caught in the act of burying the two corpses by Keiichi-kun and my other friends. I had a phone call from the library that evening, and I was told that my father needed to return the book he borrowed. He was shopping at the home improvement store at the time, so I went to the library to return the book for him. While I was there, I thought about borrowing some books for myself, and I started walking around the library. I saw her there. Exactly what happened to Shion. Kind of. Similar. Oh, Rena-chan. Hello.
Mio-san. Hello to you too. I didn't expect to see you here.
Really? I was going to say the same thing. I always spend time here, and I've never seen you. She smiled in the very attractive and charming way that only mature women can do. Her smile gave no indication that she knew her death was just a few days away. She said that she often met with Tomitake-san at the library. It seemed like she had some time to kill, so she told me she wanted to buy me a drink. I had nothing to do after that. I let her buy me a canned iced milk tea from the vending machine in the library, and we talked for a while. Once I came to think about it, it was a little ironic. She mostly talked about the series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa. She had no idea that she was going to be the victim of its 5th year.
The series of mysterious deaths?
You've heard about it at least once, haven't you? 4 years ago, the manager of the damn construction site was murdered. 3 years ago, the Hojo couple died. 2 years ago, the Furude couple died. And last year, it was Satoko-chan's aunt. The series of mysterious deaths have been going on for 4 years now. And in a few days, it'll be the 5th.
I've heard about it, but you don't know for sure that somebody will die this year.
I do. Someone will die in a few days, for sure. There's an old saying, everything that happens twice will happen a third time. So isn't it also true that what happens 4 times will happen a 5th?
Okay, that's a jump, but whatever. Mio-san was convinced that the 5th mysterious death was going to happen, but she didn't know that she was going to be the 5th victim. That's ironic, and also really creepy. But there was always something creepy about her. So maybe she knew that she was going to be killed in a few days, but still managed to make that mysterious smile. The series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa. Of course, I know about it. I've lived here for more than a year. Every year on the day of the Watanagashi Festival, one traitor to the village dies mysteriously. It's been that way since the dam conflict. Each case was solved individually, but mysterious incidents still happen every year. It makes me wonder if there's some kind of will to all this. The creepiness and incomprehensibility of it all gave rise to the name, the Curse of Oyashiro-sama, which fit perfectly. Despite this, I always thought the Curse of Oyashiro-sama was just a series of coincidences. My reason for that is because I strongly believe that Satoshi-kun was the one who murdered his aunt on the 4th year. I don't have any evidence, but I just know it. I know that Satoshi-kun was in a serious predicament last year, and that he had nowhere to turn. He had no one to help him, but he had to save Satoko-chan as soon as he could. Satoshi-kun thought it through and made the best choice he could to handle the situation, just like I did when I had my problem with Rena. I hesitated to inform Mio-san that Satoshi-kun was the murderer on the 4th year, so I just listened to her for a while. According to her theory, the series of the mysterious deaths isn't just a set of coincidences, but is instead a series of interrelated murder cases. At that point, my theory was completely the opposite of hers, but I decided not to cut in.
You know about the cult of Oyashiro-sama here in Hinamizawa, don't you?
Takano-san started telling me that Hinamizawa was once called Onigafuchi. She also explained the story of how the villagers were in the old days, showing me the scrapbook she was so proud of. The villagers back then were called man-eating demons, but they were also admired as transcendents, enlightened people not bound by earthly desires.
So according to your theory, a group of cultists who worship Oyashiro-sama are living in Hinamizawa, and they're trying to show the power of their god by enacting the series of mysterious deaths, right?
I'm not sure if we should call them cultists or fundamentalists. The line between them is very vague. In the Meiji era, when the name of the village was changed to Hinamizawa, the customs and the traditions of Onigafuchi were brought to an end. I think there are some people who want to revive those traditions and regain the name and awe of Onigafuchi.
Mio-san's theory was more than a little crazy, but it was also fascinating. At first, her theory had sounded like she was just jumping to conclusions, but after she eagerly showed me the documents she'd been studying, I started to think that it wasn't actually too far from the truth. If her theory was true, it would mean that the accidental deaths of the Hojo couple in the 2nd year, the suicide and the death by disease of the Furude couple in the 3rd year, and the drug addict murder in the 4th year were all cooked up. It means someone who has a lot of power and influence over the police was involved. When I pointed that out, Mio-san nodded in agreement, and she started talking about how strongly they were rooted in the village and how deeply they were involved with many public organizations. After she finished explaining all that, I finally noticed that Mio-san was suggesting that the 3 families, including the Sonozaki family, were the masterminds behind the murder incidents. In fact, the Sonozaki family really is very powerful. They hold influence not only over Hinamizawa and Okinomiya, but also over the entire Shishibone area. It might not be wrong to say that they even hold influence over the entire prefecture. If the Sonozaki family is behind all of this, her theory would be more realistic. But that means I should be suspicious of Michan. No, I shouldn't. But in fact, Michan was very cold and unkind to Satoshi-kun when he was going through a tough time. I know there was conflict between the Sonozaki family and the Hojo family during the Dam Wars, but still, she was very cold to Satoshi-kun. But Michan admitted that what she did was wrong, and I forgave her too. I didn't want to think about that again. I decided to change the subject because I knew it'd make me feel uncomfortable if we kept talking about the Sonozaki family.
First of all, what is the people's belief in Oyashiro-sama all about? It's a little funny that demons and humans want to coexist. In folktales, humans usually try to wipe out the demons.
That's quite true. That's why Oyashiro-sama is so interesting. However, there are actually many stories that say people in old days worshipped the god that had drifted to our world from the land of the gods. It's the worship of drifted gods, in other words. There are a number of myths all over the world about people worshipping a god who came from beyond the sea or from up a river.
The gods in those myths are actually people who came from different countries, right?
That's the general theory, yes. Ancient Japanese culture was far behind that of other nations. When Japanese people in those days saw a foreigner from a developed country, they were so impressed by the knowledge the person had that they started worshipping them as a god. That's one theory.
I've heard that Red Oni and Blue Oni were actually foreigners who drifted ashore in Japan because their boats got shipwrecked. The Japanese may have created Tengu out of foreigners too. They probably saw a foreigner who had a reddish skin with a very long nose.
Wow, you're pretty sharp, Rena-chan. I agree with you. I think most drifted god worship are based on encounters with foreigners. But if that's so, Onigafuchi's drifted god worship would have a contradiction. Do you know what it is?
That it's landlocked, or that there's no foreigners?
No, I don't.
It's easy. Onigafuchi isn't adjacent to the sea.
Oh, of course.
In order to have any connection to foreigners, the place in question must also have a connection to the outside world. In Western countries, that connection would be rivers running between adjacent countries. In Japan, that connection would be the ocean. So, most of the drifted god stories in Japan originated near the shores.
Isn't there a possibility that the foreigner washed ashore somewhere else first and then traveled to Onigafuchi?
Well, the thing about the worship of Oyashiro-sama is it specifically pinpoints Onigafuchi Swamp as the place where demons first appeared. The swamp isn't connected to any rivers. So, how could a foreigner wash up there? That's why the mystery of Oyashiro-sama is so interesting. How much do you know about the legend of Oyashiro-sama?
I just read a picture book about it in school.
I feel like I know a lot about it, but I actually don't. I just have an extreme fear of the rule not to leave Hinamizawa. After all, my life went wrong after I left. I felt dizzy when I tried to think about it further, so I stopped. When everything went wrong in Ibaraki, I met Oyashiro-sama, and he told me to go back to Hinamizawa. No. I'll get dizzy. Don't try to remember. Don't try to remember! I can't remember. I got desperate because I felt responsible for the divorce. I just used Oyashiro-sama as an excuse for my mental instability, and I told my father I wanted to go back to Hinamizawa, right? But wait, Oyashiro-sama did come to me. Oh no, the colors are too dazzling. I can only remember the vivid color of the pills and the dizziness.
That's all you need to know. The demons came out of Onigafuchi Swamp and they attacked the villagers. Oyashiro-sama saw it and came down to save the villagers from the demons by exiling them to hell. The demons cried and the villagers felt bad for them. They decided to let the demons live in the village with them. Oyashiro-sama was impressed by the kind hearts of the villagers, so he gave human forms to the demons and let them coexist. The blood of the demons blended with that of the villagers as they lived alongside each other.
That's exactly what I read in the book.
I felt dizzy, like I was going to faint, because I touched the one memory I didn't want to.
People say that most myths are based on an event of some sort that happened long ago. What event do you think is the truth behind this myth?
Because I was still feeling dizzy, all I could do was tilt my head quizzically. It seemed like Mio-san was expecting that response because she smiled, looking satisfied that she successfully made me confused. She took a scrapbook out of her paper bag.
I'll let you borrow this for a while.
Thank you. But
Don't worry, just read it whenever you have some time to kill. I want to know what you think about the things written in this scrapbook. I'd like to know even if you disagree with me, because you really are very sharp. Jiro-san isn't interested in things like this at all, so I appreciate your input.
I had little choice but to take the scrapbook. Apparently Mio-san came to the library often, so I figured I could return it to her whenever I came to return my books. However, the day I'd returned the scrapbook to Mio-san never came.
What's wrong? You don't look good. Are you feeling okay?
I caught a summer cold. I'm still recovering from it.
It wasn't the summer cold that was making me feel dizzy. I always get dizzy when I try to remember the time I met Oyashiro-sama in Ibaraki. I mustered all my courage and asked her. My memory of those days in Ibaraki is blurry. I know I met Oyashiro-sama. Nobody believed me and they told me that it was a hallucination. But I thought Mio-san would listen to me.
Mio-san, can I talk to you about something?
Yes, of course. You listen to me, so it's my turn to listen to you.
Well, it's about Oyashiro-sama. You might laugh at me.
I won't. You didn't laugh at me either.
Mio-san said it in a very gentle and mature way, and that encouraged me. Even so, I still hesitated to talk, but there was probably nobody but Mio-san with whom I could talk about something like this. I gathered my courage again and spoke.
I have met Oyashiro-sama.
You have?
Yes. I used to live in Hinamizawa until right before I went to elementary school.
Oh, hello, Goosebumps song. Been a while.
But my mother got a job in Ibaraki, so we moved. Well, you know what that means, right?
Yes, I do. You broke the rule of Oyashiro-sama, which is to never leave Hinamizawa.
That's right. And then, many things happened. My mother divorced my father, and my family was broken. I got desperate and did some bad things.
It must have been terrible. Then what happened?
I started hating everything in this world, and I started to feel like everybody who was happy was looking down on me. That's when a mysterious existence started to appear.
You mean Oyashiro-sama?
The first time it came to me was, please don't tell anybody about this. It was when I started injuring myself by cutting my body with a knife. I cut my neck, and something very dirty and gross came out with the blood from the wound. It was,
I'm not going to laugh. Go on.
I think I know what she's gonna say. The chill I felt at that time came back to me. I sealed that memory away so that I wouldn't have to remember ever again. But once I unsealed it, I started remembering things one after another. Yes, back then, there was something in the blood. Something crawling. Yep, I knew it.
It was countless dark red maggots. They squirmed up and out from my neck with each drop of blood. But they wanted to stay in my body, so they crawled back in through the cut. I didn't want those creepy things to get back inside my body, so I clawed at the cut on my neck to get them out. But it hurt so much, and it only made my hands and neck bloody. I got scared all of a sudden. I was scared because I thought there were that many nasty maggots in my blood vessels. So I cut a blood vessel on my thigh just to see how it looked. I thought I could see it better if it was my thigh. Then they oozed out from there too. So many of them.
I understand, Ryugu-san, so please calm down.
No, you don't understand. The maggots came out with my blood, but then they tried to get back inside my veins. It really, really itches. Ah!
Please bring a doctor. No, don't claw at it like that. Bring me a sedative. Hurry! Hold her down.
Please kill the maggots in my veins. Please take all the blood out of my body and flush my veins out. There's so many of them in there. Why don't you believe me? I'll show you. You'll believe me if you see them, right? I don't want to get any more shots. No, 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 no!
Okay.
Calm down, okay?
Mio-san sat next to me and held my hands tightly. Her touch brought me back to reality.
So, what happened?
Nobody believed me. But then, he showed up. Oyashiro-sama came to me.
The memory was very vague, but I saw flickering lights. It made it difficult for me to remember. I met Oyashiro-sama. That sentence is all I remembered. The memory of actually meeting Oyashiro-sama was unbelievably vague. After I got out of the hospital, I continued being treated at home. I still felt something moving in my veins, so I wanted to cut my body to make the blood ooze out so that I could make sure that there were no maggots in there. Usually I was sleeping like the dead because of the strong pills I was taking. But one day I forgot to take the pill, and my consciousness was very clear. I felt the maggots moving in my veins, and I felt the urge to look inside. I cut a vein on my wrist. I knew it. A lot of blood and many dusky red maggots came out from the wound. I wanted to wash them off before they crawled back inside me, so I put my wrist under running water in the bathroom sink and I tried to open the vein. Hello, motorcycle gunman. How you doing? Water, blood, and maggots ran down into the drain. Just like squeezing out the pus from a pimple, I squeezed the vein to get rid of the dirty blood and the maggots. I kept doing it. My arms started to feel numb, and I felt cold, but I kept doing it. I thought I might die from losing too much blood, but I kept doing it. My body was filled with maggots. I had to squeeze all my blood out of me. And then, a very bright light shone upon me. It was a very bizarre sensation. I had never experienced anything like it in my life. All of a sudden, the dark bathroom was filled with a bright light. It was very bright but gentle. It wasn't like the light from the merciless fluorescent bulb. It was very warm and gentle. That was Oyashiro-sama. Oyashiro-sama was looking at me with gentleness and sadness in his eyes. As he touched my wound, the maggots started melting and disappeared in front of my eyes. That wasn't all. All the maggots that were moving throughout all my veins disappeared too. Oyashiro-sama taught me. These maggots were the curse. People of the demon's blood can't live outside of Hinamizawa. It's the rule. Unfortunately, you've been cursed. It's very sad, and I feel sorry for you. There is only one way to save you. That's what he said. What should I do? The answer was very simple. All I needed to do was to go back to Hinamizawa. I unconsciously knew that before I heard it from Oyashiro-sama. People who were born in Hinamizawa must never leave. But I broke Oyashiro-sama's rules, and I left Hinamizawa. That's why my family was broken, and I lost my mind. If I hadn't left Hinamizawa, nothing would have gone wrong. And so, I had to go back. Oyashiro-sama also told me this. He can make the maggots, the embodiment of the curse, disappear, but only temporarily, because I lived far from Hinamizawa. After a while, the power of Oyashiro-sama would fade away, and the curse would start eating my body again. If that happened, the maggots would take over my body, and I would go insane and die. I must go back to Hinamizawa, before his power to hold down the curse faded away. That's what Oyashiro-sama told me. He did. I heard him tell me that. I should have gone back to Hinamizawa earlier. That's why Oyashiro-sama came to me to put his curse on me. But he gave me a chance. He gave me a chance to pay for my sin of leaving Hinamizawa. Dad, listen. Oyashiro-sama is going to help us. Let's go back to Hinamizawa. Hinamizawa is the place where we must live. If we don't, not only me, but you might be cursed too. Let's go back to Hinamizawa. That's the only place where we can live. We need to hurry. We need to hurry, or Oyashiro-sama's power will fade away, and my body will be eaten by the maggots. Oh no, Oyashiro-sama is following me. He's telling me to hurry. He follows me everywhere and keeps telling me to hurry. He keeps apologizing to me for putting his curse on me. He follows me everywhere and keeps apologizing. I'm telling you the truth. I am. Why can't anybody see it? Why can't they see the maggots or Oyashiro-sama? Everybody is trying to fool me. I know they can see them too. No. Please stop. I don't want to get another shot. Ah!
Are you okay?
I was breathing hard, and Mio-san was holding my shoulders. I could feel that the terrible memory I'd been trying to forget was awakening. The doctors told me that the memory was just my delusion. They told me that since I blamed myself for the divorce, I unconsciously had a desire to blame someone else for it. And I unconsciously connected the desire to the folktale of Oyashiro-sama that I read when I was little. I got drug treatment, received counseling, and waited. I gradually got better, and that proved the things I saw were just a hallucination. The doctors asked my father to consider moving to Hinamizawa if possible. Fortunately, he wanted to change his living environment to heal his pain from the divorce as well. So, we came back to Hinamizawa. After we came back to Hinamizawa, I felt it. I felt it in my bones that this was the place we should live. And I also felt Oyashiro-sama's blessing. I definitely felt it. I felt the curse of Oyashiro-sama starting to break. I was free! After I moved here, I went to the clinic in Gogura for a while. The doctor gave me the same poisonous-looking pills, and I kept taking them for a while. The terrible memory gradually became unclear. Whenever I tried to remember it, I could only remember the strong side effect of the pills, and it made me dizzy. That's how I regained my peace. And then I changed my name, Rena. The reason was because my name reminded me of those bad memories. I didn't want to have anything icky in my life anymore. That's why I came up with the idea of taking icky things out. After I took the I of icky out from my name, Rena, there were only Re and Na left. That's how Rena was born. I liked that. When I was introduced to my classmates, I told them to call me Rena. Since then, that had been my name. I'm living my new life as Rena. I cut away all the sad things that happened when I was Rena. My father still calls me Rena, but I don't feel bad as long as it was just my father and my relatives. But then, Rena came into my life one day, and she called me Rena. Because she called me Rena, those colored lights started flickering again. I should stop. I should forget about it. The lights were still flickering.
I'm sorry. Was I panicking that badly?
You were muttering to yourself. I'm glad you calmed down.
Judging by Mio-san's reaction, I wasn't panicking as badly as I thought I was. But I've probably had those panicked hallucinations several times. If I started screaming and yelling like I once did, they'd take me away to a hospital again for sure.
I'm certain I met Oyashiro-sama. I saw the maggots. It's hard to believe, right?
Mio-san smiled, looking a little confused. I couldn't blame her. I didn't expect her to believe it. I'm sure it was just a strange memory I created for myself in my hallucinations. I can't believe I can't trust myself. That's the worst feeling of all.
Rena-chan, first of all, you don't have to worry about anything.
Yes.
I'm talking about the curse you're afraid of, and the maggots that you saw in your blood. According to what Oyashiro-sama said, you're free from them as long as you stay in Hinamizawa, right?
Yes, that's what he said.
Then you don't have to be scared. You don't have to worry about anything. You're in Hinamizawa right now. Well, this library is in Okinomiya, but it's very close to Hinamizawa. I'm sure it's okay with Oyashiro-sama. You don't feel anything moving in your veins right now, do you?
No, I don't.
So there's nothing to worry about. You're following Oeshiro-sama's rules. There's nothing you should be scared of. Is there? Right?
No.
I didn't know until then that she was such a warm-hearted person. I met many doctors and talked to them about this, but they always ignored me and didn't really listen. All they did was give me a shot of the drug I hated. On the other hand, Mio-san didn't deny my story or the existence of Oeshiro-sama. The people in this village whispered behind her back that she's a little crazy, but she was actually a very kind person, I thought.
Rena-chan, I believe everything you just told me.
Thank you so much. You're the first one to ever say that to me.
So are you. You're the first one who didn't laugh at me and listen to me so seriously. I think we can be good friends.
Mio-san smiled, touching my head with hers.
Well, I'll let you borrow my secret files and my scrapbooks. These are top secret. I didn't want to show these to anybody, but you're special. I think I can trust you. I know you'll take them seriously.
She took a few scrapbooks out of her paper bag and handed them to me.
Let me know what you think after you read them. There might be something in them that only you can understand.
Mio-san was acting mysteriously. She smiled mischievously and put her index finger on her lips as a sign to keep it a secret.
Don't tell anybody about these scrapbooks or that I'm studying this, okay?
We're keeping this a secret? Okay, I got it.
If they find out that I've been studying this, they might get rid of me.
She laughed after she said that. They might erase her. That's what she said. And she went missing. She left me her scrapbooks. But that's not all there is to it. It's the way Tomitake-san died. Oishi-san said he committed suicide because of a state of excitation caused by using some kind of drug. But I know what really happened. I didn't tell Oishi-san about it. I don't think he'd have believed me even if I told him. Without a doubt, Tomitake-san died trying to get rid of the maggots. It was nothing other than the curse of Oeshiro-sama. To never leave Hinamizawa isn't the only rule of Oeshiro-sama. There are more. He might have broken one of them without knowing it. Oishi-san told me. Tomitake-san was taking pictures with his camera flash on during the sacred ritual dance, and some people got mad at him for it. Did Oeshiro-sama put his curse on Tomitake because he violated the sacred ritual dance? It might be for another reason. Anyway, he died from the curse of Oeshiro-sama, without a doubt. Did that mean Oeshiro-sama put his curse on Mio-san too? Investigating the gods is the same as getting close to the gods. It's disrespecting them. But Mio-san told me that they might get rid of her if they found out about her investigation. By they, she meant humans. Plus, according to her theory, the three families are in a conspiracy to revive the faith of Oeshiro-sama. But I can tell by the way Tomitake-san died that it was the act of the curse. I'm certain about that because I experienced the curse myself. And at first glance, that seemed incompatible with those conspiracy theories about human beings. I remember that Oishi-san told me something about some kind of drug that can make a person commit suicide. So do the three families have a secret drug that can cause the curse of Oeshiro-sama? That's impossible. Plus, I didn't get any shots of a suspicious drug like that. I had a normal life in Ibaraki. I wasn't involved with the Sonozaki family or the Kimiyoshi family. Oishi-san asked me a favor. He asked me to tell him secretly if I saw or heard anything suspicious. It could be about Mi-chan, Rika-chan, or anybody in the village. Mio-san believed my story about Oeshiro-sama. Now she's gone. Tomitake-san died by doing the same thing I did. Oh, no. I don't want to get involved with the curse of Oeshiro-sama. Is this a conspiracy of a group of fanatical cult members? Or is it the curse of Oeshiro-sama? Is everything just a set of coincidences? Or maybe it's a mixture of conspiracy and the curse. I don't know. Is it the work of humans, the curse, or a coincidence? Oh no. Even the light of the sunset was making me feel dizzy. When did the sunlight in Hinamizawa get so mean? Mio-san told me to keep her investigation a secret. I have her top secret scrapbooks. They might hold the truth about everything. When I realized that, I got scared all of a sudden. I might end up the same way as Mio-san because I have her scrapbooks. If it's a conspiracy, I'll be erased. If it's a curse, I'll be cursed. I should burn the scrapbooks. That's the safest thing to do. But Mio-san believed my story. Mio-san listened to me without laughing. It'd feel wrong to burn them without taking a look. If it's a conspiracy, I have to expose it. If it's a curse, I have to break it. I shouldn't run away. I should fight. That's right. I decided to fight to seize my happiness. I shouldn't give in to misfortunes. I have to fight. I'm going to get rid of all the things that are trying to ruin my peaceful life. I'm going to read her scrapbooks when I get home. I started walking faster. Woohoo. This is escalating in a very interesting way. Hee 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 hee. Tip? Maybe? Yep. Lunch takeout list. Excuse me? Achievement unlocked, icky things. Oh, maggots. Well, that fits the bill. Lunch takeout list. ATTN, don't know what that stands for. Kuroda Mental Clinic. Maybe it means attendance. Hello. To get straight to the point, we can assume that this is an acute case of post-traumatic stress disorder. The patient is subject to tremendous stress because of her parents' sudden divorce, and being forced to live with either her mother or her father. Furthermore, the patient firmly believes that she was responsible for her parents' divorce, which further drives her to self-mutilation. The patient's largest shock stems from a sense of betrayal of her own household, which she believed was an absolute safe haven. Henceforth, there is a high possibility that the patient will resort to psychological defense measures to protect her family. For example, she might feel high disdain for any person of the opposite sex who approaches her father. She might feel uncomfortable about having other people in her home. She may also display eccentric behavior in order to keep people away from it. As an example of the latter, there are reported cases of patients unconsciously bringing home garbage. It's highly important that the patient remains in close communication with her father. By deepening the communication between the two of them, it'll strengthen their family bond and loosen up her anxiety. Since the patient only shows signs of an acute syndrome in this case, there's a very good chance that she'll recover within 3 months with her father's support and proper medication. However, it's common for a patient who seemed to have recovered to have a sudden reoccurrence, a flashback, even after 10 years. Her father is still fairly young, and there's still a chance that he could remarry. However, seeing an unfamiliar member of the opposite sex through remarriage could trigger a flashback in the patient, which may lead to avoidance behavior or hyper-awareness. Please explain this part thoroughly to the patient in order for him to understand the recovery process. Should the father decide to remarry, it's recommended that he should hold off in telling the patient until she reaches the age where she's capable of living independently. Also, the cause of the patient's psychosomatic, self-mutilating behavior, delusional parasitosis, seems to be its own culture-bound syndrome. The patient blindly believes that leaving her home village will cause a curse, and that this curse was the cause of her parents' divorce. We believe this is a subconscious defensive mechanism to reduce her mental trauma by shifting the blame from herself to her village's curse. According to the patient's statement, the culture of her home village is extremely strict and exclusive. The patient believes that there's no way to be saved from the curse other than by going back to the village, as the curse will continue as long as she lives in her current environment. Through this, we see an inclination of schizophrenia, and believe the chances are high that the patient will continue to alter their perceived reality. Schizophrenia, a case where patients' personalities are reduced, causing altered perceptions of reality and delusions. Her delusion about the maggots dwelling in her blood is a perfect example, and it's also the cause of her psychosomatic, self-mutilating behavior. When a delusion involves psychosomatic, self-mutilating behavior, it's extremely dangerous. I highly recommend for the father to move back to the village if he's financially capable. Allowing her to live with relatives in the village might also work. If such a strong belief can induce symptoms such as self-mutilation, then there might be other cases similar to this one. Perhaps prior medical files that document similar culture-bound syndromes may be available at a large medical institution in her local area. It'll then be possible to provide better and more accurate mental care for the patient by obtaining these case files. This B5-sized letter was with a bunch of memos. The following was on the backside of the letter. 1 Chuka-don, 3 Shanghai-style Gamoku yakisoba, 1 large fried rice. Real professional. Alright. Well, this chapter is definitely escalating in an interesting way. Are we on another tip? She's probably reading the scrapbooks. Alright, well, I think I'm gonna end this episode here. This chapter's still very interesting, but I feel like we're probably gonna have a slow build up here. As opposed to Shion, who just immediately went 0 to 100, killed her grandma, blah blah blah. You know, but either way, that's gonna be it for this episode, guys. If you liked it, then be sure to press the like button. And if you didn't like it, then fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name is Godzi, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye!